right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, GoodVito, dropping a bombshell posing update at 2 weeks out from the 2025 Arnold Classic South America. And this update got a lot of people talking, number one, because he looks like a total freak in this update, and you get to see essentially his full physique here, which we haven't seen in some time. But two, because we know that GoodVito's game plan is to not only do the Arnold South America, but then to go on to do the Pittsburgh and the New York Pro. And obviously there's been all this talk online about GoodVito, just looking at his pictures and stuff on social media about what a freak he is. But this will be the first time that we get to see GoodVito in like a world-class lineup against the best of the best, especially if Derek is there, which we still don't know for sure. But we get to see the rematch of him and Martin. Now that Martin is a top 4 Olympian, we also get to see him go up against guys like Nick Walker, William Bonac, Michael Krizo. There's going to be a really solid amount of top 10 Olympians in that Pittsburgh lineup, and probably also in New York as well. So even though GoodVito has never qualified for the Olympia or been to the Olympia, there's been this conversation of how would he do if he competed in the Olympia. We're kind of going to get an answer to that question in Pittsburgh. Because if he beats guys like Krizo, like Bonac, maybe Nick Walker, maybe Martin Fitzwater, or even a crazy Hail Mary like somehow beating Derek Lunsford, which I don't think is going to happen, then that adds some validity to the discussion of GoodVito potentially being a top 6, first call-out, top 5 Olympian if he actually beats some of these guys. And I know that a lot of the conversation is around Nick, Martin, and GoodVito, but even just talking about Krizo and Bonac at his last Olympia was 7th. Krizo at his last Olympia was also 7th. So in a more realistic discussion, if Vito is able to beat them in Pittsburgh or New York, I don't know if they're all doing both or what, but if he's able to beat them, that does start a real conversation of him potentially being a top 6 first call-out Olympian. And I mean, just imagine if he somehow managed to beat Martin and Nick, a top 3 and top 4 Olympian. Now, there's some excitement going into 2025. And honestly, as far as this Arnold Classic South America goes, I haven't heard any big names, any top 10 Olympians, any Olympians really at all for that matter, doing the open bodybuilding part of that show. I don't know who's competing there besides GoodVito. So I think what you're probably going to see happen here is Vito's best chance at qualifying for the Olympia is going to be the South America show. So he'll probably get that qualification in 2 weeks. And then whatever he goes on to do in Pittsburgh and New York will be more just for the standpoint of making a statement going into the Olympia saying, look, I beat these guys. I think this will be the first year that we see him on the Olympia stage, and I think it's probably most likely that he qualifies at the South America show. But I mean, imagine a scenario where if GoodVito somehow won Pittsburgh or New York and beat some of these big household name Olympians. I mean, there's no denying the guy is a freak. You look at this physique, you look at these quads, you look at the size of this guy. He certainly looks bigger. He looks improved. That picture that we saw of his back the other day certainly looked like he brought up his back. And really the only thing that I always kind of notice with him is his arms, his shoulders, his quads. Everything is so freaky that I feel like it kind of dwarfs his chest. I feel like for some reason, because his arms and shoulders are so round and full, his chest always looks a little bit flattened out to me and not like full, thick, like a Samson Dowda type of chest. The chest to me is like the one thing that doesn't quite match the rest of GoodVito. So he does have like these points in his physique that you could pick apart, whereas a guy like Martin or a guy like Derek, they're a lot more complete. But from what we've seen from GoodVito so far, he's only been pro for, I guess just a year and a half, 2 years. We've only seen him do a couple of pro shows, and we've seen him bring insane conditioning. I mean, that Detroit show, I can't say enough good things about how he looked there, and he certainly looks in this recent physique update to be bigger than he was in Detroit. And if he matches that conditioning, I mean, he's going to be dangerous. This guy, GoodVito, is the real deal. I don't think that he's just internet hype. I don't think he's going to be one of these guys that never delivers. I think he's the real deal. He's got the size. He's got the freak factor. He brings crazy conditioning. He's got the stage presence. I think he's going to do some damage at these shows, and I think he will get his Olympia qualification at one of them, probably the South America show, and I think we will see him at the Olympia, and I think there's probably a chance he could be in the top 10 at the Olympia at his first outing ever. If he makes it to the Olympia in 2025, that will be his debut. But we're not going to have to speculate much longer. I mean, we're going to see what he looks like in the South America show, and then after that, he will have about 5 weeks to continue to prep, improve, refine, whatever, until Pittsburgh. So he's going to have about a month and a week gap between South America and the next show. So we could see him look a lot better than he looks at the South America show, but that will be kind of our preview of what we can expect from him in Pittsburgh and New York, even though he'll have 5 more weeks to prep. But right now, I mean, based on these updates that we're seeing from Vito, based on his contest plans, I think he could be one of these names in 2025 that has a really breakout year, and I feel like he's going to end up being a very talked about bodybuilder this year. And like I said, I think we're really spoiled with the start to this season. Between the South America show, we've still got Detroit literally next weekend, but this Pittsburgh show, man, if Derek does this show, if GoodVito comes in off of a Arnold South America win and he looks amazing in South America, and he comes into Pittsburgh at his all-time best with Derek and Nick and Martin and Crizzo and Bonac, I mean, we could see a real toss-up of some of these placings in Pittsburgh. I think we've got a really, really exciting show on our hands coming up. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I feel like the reaction to GoodVito has been kind of mixed. I see some people saying he's just not complete enough. He's got too many weak points. I see some people saying his midsection's too thick. Then there's other people that think he's like the greatest thing to ever happen to bodybuilding. So it's kind of a mixed opinion, but I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. You know, in the conversation of going up against these top Olympians like Nick, Bonac, these other guys, where do you think GoodVito is going to place in a show like Pittsburgh? And do you think he's going to get to the Olympia this year? Do you think he's going to get the qualification at one of the 3 shows that he's doing? And will this be his Olympia debut in 2025? I kind of see it as maybe he beats Bonac or Crizzo, and that puts him in a good position going into the Olympia. I don't expect GoodVito to beat guys like Nick Walker, Martin Fitzwater, Derek Lunsford. This is a guy that hasn't even been to the Olympia yet, but I think the realistic expectation could be that maybe he beats a guy like Crizzo. Maybe he beats a guy like Bonac, and those are top 7 guys. That puts him in a really strong position if he does go to the Olympia this year, if he does that in Pittsburgh. I think in a lineup that nuts, I think best case scenario is if GoodVito places 4th, that's fantastic in a lineup like that. Because think about it, if he places top 3, that means he's in the mix with probably Derek Lunsford and Nick or Martin. So if he's in the top 3 at Pittsburgh, even if he doesn't win, he's in a call-out with a Mr. Olympia champ and a top 4 finisher at the Olympia, or a top 3 finisher potentially. So even cracking top 3 or top 4 would be massive for GoodVito here. Because while we've seen him against Martin, he's never had the opportunity to stand next to a Mr. Olympia champ that just won the Arnold and beat the reigning Mr. Olympia. And again, this is still all, we don't know if Derek's doing it for sure, but it's a big opportunity for a guy like Vito that's looking to make a statement. If he even gets to stand next to Derek in a call-out, that's huge for him. But I guess we'll wait and see what happens. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.